Ever wondered what would happen if the most powerful demon slayer was turned into a demon? In today's video, we'll be looking at how much different the demon slayer plot would have been if Muzan had turned Yoriichi into a demon. Yoriichi Sugikuni is undoubtedly the most powerful demon slayer in the entire story. From being born with the demon slayer mark to his ability to use transparent world, unlocking the red Nichiren blade, and his mastery of 13th form sun breathing, Yoriichi is obviously a formidable foe to be reckoned with. We have also seen his battle with Muzan and how he absolutely annihilated the Demon King. However, let's imagine a world where Yoriichi isn't the powerful demon slayer and is turned into a demon instead of his brother Michikatsu, who eventually became Kokushibo, the upper rank 1 demon. Stay tuned because in today's video, that's the world we'll be talking about. So, first things first, Yoriichi would need to have a dark side to even consider joining Muzan, and so there would need to be some sort of trigger for this. The first scenario we'll be looking at is one of which the other demon slayers blame him for Michikatsu's transformation. When Michikatsu got his demon slayer mark, he began to fear that he would die because many other demon slayers at the time were dying shortly after. He became desperate to keep his life, so during his encounter with Muzan, he agreed to become a demon so he could become immortal. Let's imagine that the Demon Slayer corpse blamed Yoriichi for allowing Muzan to transform his brother into a demon. The hatred from the other Demon Slayers would probably bring out the worst in him until he finally decides to become a demon. That's just one possibility though. But another scenario that could cause Yoriichi to join Muzan would probably be a world where he's just a bad guy. In this situation, Yoriichi's attitude towards humans would be very different. He'd be arrogant and selfish, so much so that he'd want the humans to worship him and the other demon slayers, believing that he's superior to them. With this mindset, Yoriichi would hate humans for not appreciating the demon slayers enough, especially since most humans aren't even aware of the demon slayer's existence. As most fans know, only a handful of humans are aware that the demon slayers exist, and because of this, Yoriichi would conclude that they are ungrateful and don't deserve to be saved. This version of Yoriichi would also train harder with the desire to grow even stronger. Eventually, just like in the original story, he would face Muzan and defeated him using his insanely powerful 13th form sun breathing technique. However, in this reality, Yoriichi wouldn't kill Muzan. Knowing that he doesn't stand a chance against Yoriichi, Muzan would most likely talk his way out of getting killed. He'd promise him immortality and all the other perks of being a demon. Since Yoriichi already hates humans, he'd accept, so he could become even more powerful, but on the condition that he can use his power to destroy anyone who angers him. Yoriichi would also demand freedom of will, allowing him to do whatever he wishes, even if Muzan is against it. Not wanting to end up dead, Muzan would immediately give Yoriichi his blood and transform him into the most powerful demon to ever exist. Now in this world, Michikatsu was never turned into a demon, so Yoriichi would automatically become the Upper Moon 1 demon. While Yoriichi goes deeper into the dark side, Michikatsu would remain in the Demon Slayer corpse and eventually become the strongest Demon Slayer as a result of his brother's absence. The two would basically switch places in an alternate reality. Michikatsu would no longer envy Yoriichi like he did in the original story, and he'd probably go on to start a family and teach his children the moon breathing technique. Now that we've gotten to the part where Yoriichi becomes a demon, let's take a look at all the things that would happen differently in this reality. First of all, the Demon Slayer corpse would be stronger than ever. Their strongest members would be Muichiro and Yoriichi. Why? Well, in this version of the story, Muichiro, who is a descendant of the Sugikuni bloodline, would have mastered the moon breathing technique instead of mist breathing like in the original story. This is because Michikatsu stayed back and taught his descendants, so this breathing style ended up being passed down for generations. Yoriichi would also be alive in this version because he'd be strong enough to defeat the demons that killed him in the original story. Another thing that would change in the Demon Slayer story is Tanjiro's life. With Yoriichi now on Muzan's side, he would never have taught the Kamado family the sun-breathing style, and so Tanjiro would most likely just remain a young, oblivious, normal human boy living in the mountains with Nezuko and the rest of the family. In this version of the story, Yoriichi wouldn't show himself too much. He'd only come out a few times to fight, but whenever he does, he'd obliterate all the demon slayers and Hashiras around him, leaving no survivors to tell of his existence. Because of this, the new generation of Demon Slayer would have no idea that such a powerful demon exists. Sure, they would be the most powerful set of Hashira yet, but Muzan wouldn't be bothered because he knows he has the formidable Yoriichi on his side. Confident that he can finally destroy all the Hashira despite their growing strength, he would no longer waste any time and immediately unleash a full-scale attack on them to end the war once and for all. With that in mind, the final battle would begin. Muzan and his demons would attack the Hashiras in the Ubuyashiki mansion. The most things would go down the same way they did in the original story, with Kagaya sacrificing himself so Tamayo can poison Muzan. Then Gyome decapitates Muzan and the head grows back before the other Hashiras arrive. Muichiro would seek revenge on Muzan for killing Kagaya, so he'd attack the Demon King using his moon-breathing first form. The attack would do a little damage to Muzan, but he'd deflect most of them. When the other Hashiras tried to attack Muzan, he'd suddenly teleport them to the Infinity Castle where he'd keep them occupied with many less powerful demons while he recovers from the poison in his cocoon. The Hashiras would easily destroy all the demons and then they'd proceed to enter the other rooms where they meet the upper moons. That's when they meet Muzan's secret weapon, the legendary Yoriichi, who's now a demon. The first to encounter him would be Yuichiro, but then Yoriichi attacks him. Giyu arrives along with Muichiro and Gyome to deflect it. Now, the four young Hashira realize that it's Yoriichi and must now face the most difficult challenge of their lives by facing him in battle. While the other Hashiras fight with the remaining upper moons to defeat the weakened Muzan, Giyu, Muichiro, Yuichiro, and Gyome launch attacks at Yoriichi. Giyu attacks him with his water-breathing fifth form technique, but Yoriichi easily deflects it. Seeing that their attacks have no effects on him, Yoriichi becomes disappointed and decides to end the pathetic fight as soon as possible. The twins combine their power to attack him by using powerful moon breathing, and Yoriichi is immediately attacked by Gyome, who launches his fourth form of volcanic rock rapid conquest on him. The attack injures him, causing him to bleed, but in an instant, his wounds heal, leaving the Hashira horrified. Yoriichi then unleashes his sun-breathing burning bone summer sun. The massive firestorm slashes the four Hashiras simultaneously, but while Gyome and Giyu get badly injured by it, Muichiro and Yuichiro manage to dodge the attack. After Yoriichi's move paralyzes Giyu and Gyome, he realizes that the twins are descendants of Sugikuni blood, so he asks them to join him and become demons so they can live forever. After instantly rejecting him, the brothers proceed to perform a powerful move, so much so that Yoriichi warns them that they'd die if they use it. They agree and then reveal that they are willing to sacrifice themselves to stop him. It turns out that the Sugikuni knew it would be impossible to stop Yoriichi after he became a demon, so they came up with a powerful move that must be performed by two Hashiras strong enough. Yoriichi is initially unfazed by this, but when he sees that the brothers' strength is rising higher than he could have imagined, he decides to attack them before they can complete the move. Suddenly, Giyu and Gyome stand up to stop Yoriichi from attacking the twins. He attacks them, but they don't let him go, and soon the brothers finish preparing their death blow. Giyu and Gyome tell them to unleash the attack, knowing that they would also be killed. So, the twins unleash the moon-breathing final form, solar eclipse, and everything including the Infinity Castle is destroyed. As the dust clears, Giyu and Gyome are dead, and the brothers are mortally wounded. They realize that they have defeated Yoriichi and hope that the others can defeat Muzan. Meanwhile, not far from them, Yoriichi disintegrates, not believing that he lost. The remaining Hashiras combine forces and can defeat the upper moons and finally the weakened Muzan.